Hey there. Ritual here to give a big shout out to you for making it through the hectic holiday season. The magic of those family moments, that was you. And now there's new milestones to prep for in 2025. This new year, check clean, quality pregnancy nutrient support off your to-do list with Ritual. We've done the research to create science-backed pregnancy support like our prenatal multivitamin, natal choline, and fertility support, all designed to be taken alongside each other. But don't just take our word for it. They're also third-party tested for microbes and heavy metals and Clean Label Project certified. So whether you're trying, thinking about trying, or already there, we don't have to tell you that prioritizing yourself can be the hardest part. That's why we're helping you get started today with 30% off a 3-month supply for a limited time at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, SHR Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than SHR Sean and SHR Clint. And we're working on immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here, too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late-night conservative talk, SHR Radio.
Radio. Radio.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America. In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. It is September 6th, 2017. I am your host. Sackhead Sean sitting across from me is my co-host for the evening, the bloviating Zeppelin.
Hi, folks.
Who's doing well, it looks like. Is that shirt brown or orange? I can't tell.
The shirt?
Yeah. It's brown.
I was told it's khaki.
Khaki.
By the way, you spell khaki, if you don't know this, Kakki.
I did not know that.
Khaki.
You know, it's funny, where I come from, there's not much difference between a khaki and a khaki.
Okay, that shit's not funny, all right?
And sometimes you leave your khakis and your khakis.
And your khakis.
Right.
All right, now that's funny.
I wish I could take full credit for that. Dish a couple years ago had a great online web commercial, a whole series of them. It's How to Speak Boston. It's when they did the Hopper package. And it was How to Speak Boston. And it's this guy who's from Boston. He had the accent down pretty well. I'm guessing Dorchester area. But the other one was like being attacked by a shark in a shack.
Okay.
And it's rare, but sometimes people get shocked in the shack. And
perfect.
Yeah. It was pretty damn good. So I always got a kick out of that. YouTube it. Just do Dish, Hopper, How to Speak Boston is what it was called.
H-O-P-P, but it's H-O-P-P-A, right?
It's actually H-O-P-P-E-R.
No, it's like it sounds.
Oh, is it?
Hopper.
Oh.
Hopper. You
But they
buy
also
the hopper.
You buy the hopper. But I think it's even funny that they have a kangaroo as their logo, even though they do the whole Boston accent language thing. It's just very strange to me.
Get the dump truck and put it in the hopper.
Dump truck in the hopper. And then drive it into the harbor.
I knew you were going to go there, so you did.
If you want to go on vacation where I come from, you go to Bahaba.
And that's B-A-H-H-A-B-B-A.
H. There's an H at the end.
Right.
There is an H at the end. Of course, if you haven't noticed yet through the mystery of radio, you don't know this, but those watching the YouTube video, which like and subscribe our YouTube channel, please.
That's right, shrmedia.com, YouTube. Go to YouTube, shrmedia.com for the search. Boom, you're there. Boom.
Yep, you're right there. You'll see my ugly face, his ugly face.
And
who you won't see this evening.
We're missing an ugly face.
There is a nose that is not present.
Damn it. Should I tell everyone what happened, or do we want to keep it on the DL?
Well, the rhinoplasty did not go well.
That's not the only thing that didn't go well.
I know that they lost 2 buzzsaws in the middle of the surgery and had to shut it down halfway.
Well,
It looked like a tree that somebody just took a handsaw, like a giant sequoia, and they took a handsaw and got like 3 strokes in and quit. But it burned out 2 medical saws.
well, not just that. Well, first they found out that they couldn't keep the blades on there.
Right.
You know, and that was and first they had to go like to Home Depot or wherever they went to get backup on that stuff, and so that didn't work. And then they burned out the electrical motor.
Yes, they did.
So that was terrible.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's what happens.
What? There was more though.
Oh,
And that's what I'm asking.
BZ, please.
Do we want to actually go there? We just want to say, okay, Clint, happy to see that. You might have to go back. Is he going to have to go back? I think he is.
He's going to have to go back. They're actually. Have you ever seen when they have to clear out trees from a vast area of power lines, and they have the giant helicopter? It's like Hercules helicopter,
right? The sky crane, the big sky crane.
Yeah, the big sky crane. That's where they have the hanging buzzsaws,
right?
That run off the actual rotor of and that's how they run it.
Right.
That's what they're going to have to bring in to deal with his nose. So
that's going to be like.
It's tragic.
Big bucks for
them. It is. But they have to do it, right? I mean, at the end of the day,
he doesn't.
He's going to get it done.
If he wants to breathe. Well, did he? The other thing I didn't hear is he going to have to change doctors?
Ooh.
Because can he go back to that original rhinoplasty surgery?
No, the guy actually gave up. He got out of the business altogether
because he lost equipment.
Yes,
and then remember when at least this is what Clint said, when those blades were thrown and they went through the roof and damaged, they damaged property.
Everything. And I apologize to the YouTube people. I did forget to hit one magic button, so we are up on YouTube for the Sackheads radio show. Finally, I apologize. That was all on me.
Well, YouTube kind of gave me the what for last night.
Yeah, that was weird. I saw that about 40 minutes in.
It started, it went for 40, and then it decided for whatever reason, I think I've had enough of your shit.
Well, and how often have you heard that in your life, really? I mean, let's be honest, BZ.
Daily.
Let us be honest.
So it's YouTube doing nothing but keeping in line.
So I want to, before we go for the evening, go on to what we normally do, our jackassery. I want to, first and foremost, thank the good people at Buffalo Trace and for allowing me to have this Manhattan, which is just amazing. You'll notice my bullet glass, which is incredible.
Yeah, I think you need to point that out because you pointed it out to me, and then
so it's a company that
if you held it up to the camera so people can say what kind of a glass it really is.
Yeah. So if you look at a slight angle, right there, you can see the indent. So there was a company, and I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I saved the box because it's a really great product, where whatever round you want, they have a set of standard rounds, but you can get an additional round where they hand blow the round and infuse it into the glass. So it's a shot glass. That's a bullet. That's a bullet tip of a .40 caliber on that one. That's pushed in.
I think that's a great idea.
It's awesome, isn't it?
That's a fabulous idea.
And for me, my particular favorite pistol carry round is a .40. So it's very fitting, right?
That's brilliance.
I
only if it doesn't leak.
So you need that. You also need your whiskey stones or rocks. These.
Hey there. Ritual here to give a big shout out to you for making it through the hectic holiday season. The magic of those family moments, that was you. And now there's new milestones to prep for in 2025. This new year, check clean, quality, pregnancy nutrient support off your to-do list with Ritual. We've done the research to create science-backed pregnancy support like our prenatal multivitamin, natal choline, and fertility support, all designed to be taken alongside each other. But don't just take our word for it. They're also third-party tested for microbes and heavy metals and Clean Label Project certified. So whether you're trying, thinking about trying, or already there, we don't have to tell you that prioritizing yourself can be the hardest part. That's why we're helping you get started today with 30% off a 3-month supply for a limited time at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Are the metal kind that you freeze so it does not water down your drink as the night goes on. You'll notice the nice orange hue to my Manhattan.
What's the square on the looks like on the outside of that.
The square on the outside. That's one of my. That's one of the whiskey rocks. That's
Oh,
one
is
of
it
the
really?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So there's a nice tan, maybe a little orange hue into that, which
I do see it.
Yeah, it's
'Cause
nice.
when you turn it around, yeah.
yeah, it definitely gets the light through. So I figured tonight
That's
was
really
good.
nice. That's
and
neat.
then and then you get some good homemade cherries, and you're good to go.
Jersey Joe in chat said, by the way, speaking of YouTube, it took your show, meaning me, and bumped it into his show, so it was one big 4-hour-long show. And then I guess that's why it wasn't under me.
Yes,
It
yes.
It was under him.
Well, so
that
apparently,
guy.
and we're still new to the YouTube world here at SHR Media. You know, we're not all Melanie Collette, who's going to be calling in about 6 minutes. When it comes to figuring out technology, we're not all amazing at it like she is. We,
With one exception.
fuck technology.
Yeah.
Big nose over there. Big nose. You know, you give me credit for technology all the time, and I find it comical because I on the information superhighway, I'm in the breakdown lane most of the time.
Well, okay. Here's the hierarchy, though, of technology. It's Sean,
Yes,
BZ,
yes.
and then if you take a breath and
Wait.
go,
The tripod holding the sign.
tripod. Oh, good point. That's 3.
That has more technological information than Big Nose
Right,
does.
And then there's Clint.
Right.
Because Mike in chat says that you know, I frequently say that I'm a technological Luddite, and Mike refers to that. But now, Mike, you know that even the tripod, the whiteboard in the studio is more facile
Yes.
than Clint.
Yes. I just did a little research because I want to give credit to this company that makes these. Because
If you tell me what it is, I'd like to have one because
they're on Facebook and I found them. They're called Benshot. BENSHOT.
Okay, trust me, that would not contain bourbon. That would contain vodka.
Pure vodka.
That's right.
Pure vodka.
Life is too short for cheap vodka.
Oh, man. You know, I just realized all the YouTubers missed all of the whole Boston Harbor, Bar Harbor, the Shack, the khakis, and the khakis.
Damn. Well, I'll tell you what, folks, that's easily solved. Go to Spreaker.com.
Pick up in the first 5 minutes.
Go to Sackhead's radio show and Spreaker, you know, in the search thing, and then you're going to find Bar Harbor.
I did mention that Melanie Collette's going to be calling in at 8:15 Pacific Standard Time. She's going to discuss her show, some of the changes that are coming up, and just talk with Melanie.
I heard a rumor about that, but I don't know exactly what's happening.
And we're going to let Miss Melanie explain all of that.
How cool
the Business
is that
Diva herself. And then at about 8:32, our friend the Reaver of Common Sense, Jersey Ho, will be calling us. Jersey Ho obviously relocated down to Florida. He's prepping for the big hurricane that's coming.
They all do. People from Jersey want to get the hell out of the state, and then they go south. They become snowbirds.
They do. And but Jersey Joe is going to be calling us from Florida to talk about the Hurricane Irma that's coming, the impending disaster.
Now,
it's going to be a disaster.
White Mamba was in chat last night.
Yes, he
on my
was.
show and said, by the way, we're already having some impact.
Yes.
Down there. He says, you go into a store, you go into a gas station or something like that, you're not going to find shite, apparently, already.
Yeah.
So if there's
it's only going to get worse.
Well,
I mean, and I can tell you too, like, we had a couple hurricanes growing up in Boston, right? But not a lot.
Does Boston actually...
Yeah.
Does Boston get impacted by hurricanes?
We had Hurricane Bob. I can remember. I want to say that was maybe 91, 92, right?
That's a cheap shot. That really is a cheap shot. That's somebody that shows no creative talent whatsoever. Okay, we're going to name a hurricane. How about Eustace? No. Antiphony? No. How about Bob? Right, Bob!
Well, and here's the only issue. It was the same name as my dearly deceased father. So anyhow,
yeah, but that's Robert. That was Robert. They just went Bob.
You know, it's funny too, and I tell the story all the time. My grandmother refused to call him Bob. She only called him Robert.
Robert?
Yes, and that was a thing. Like that was her thing. You had to call him Robert. But we had Hurricane Bob. I want to say in 85, 86, we had Hurricane Gloria, because if it hits the Atlantic right and it comes up, it can turn in at the right time and do some damage. We've also
Okay, well, Sandy, did Boston get hit?
No, she curled out quick enough. They had some weather, they had some things that came along with it, but not a lot of damage. And she slowed down once it hit Jersey and New York.
But now, all right,
They took
there
some
you go.
hit.
Now, didn't New York get hit?
Yes,
out of
Manhattan was flooded.
that? And damn it, Al Gore
Al Gore.
said in his new movie that he predicted there would be flooding in New York City because
Yes.
of global warming.
Or hurricanes. I think he said or hurricanes.
Yeah, in the
Almost
movie,
positive.
not before.
So,
Dumbass.
dumbass.
What a dumbass.
And then we had the perfect storm in October. I want to say it was 99, 98, which wasn't an official hurricane, but it was 3 storms that combined together,
Oh, right. And the movie.
The movie,
and
yeah.
the book came out of that.
which was very well done.
I thought that was a cool movie.
The Andrea Gale
Yep.
was the name of the ship. And I've fished, or I had been on her sister ship in Gloucester Harbor.
Say that again. I just like to hear that. Say it again.
Gloucester Harbor.
Thank you.
Not Gloucester. Not nothing. It's Gloucester Harbor.
Gloucester Harbor.
And but yeah, that storm was incredible. The amount of damage. That was a no-name storm. It was 2 or 3 storm systems that converged all at the same time in the worst possible spot. The rotation came inland, so it was coming back towards. Even though it was out in the Atlantic, the rotation was coming back into Boston. It pushed a lot of water up into the harbor. Especially South Shore was flooded and destroyed. The South Shore, Boston, Weymouth, Norwell, that whole area. And I can remember what an amazingly intense storm that was.
Well, you were there at the time, right?
I was there at the time. Yeah, I was definitely there at the time. So it's one of those things I always tell people, you know, I put on my Facebook today, especially with the hurricane, and we'll talk a little bit about it when Joe comes on, but if you're in Florida, just do me a favor and get the fuck out. Now.
Well,
just drive north, young man.
Isn't it mostly going to immediately impact Miami?
Right. So as my eloquent friend said, it's only going to hit the head of Florida.
Well, it's just like, I'm just going to be inserting just the tip, okay?
Yes.
Just the tip.
Indeed, just the tip.
Now, can I tell everyone what actually happened to Clint?
Yes, please, because we got to get to that, because Melanie's going to call in any minute.
In addition to the terrible rhinoplasty job,
Horrible rhinoplasty.
he's having to seek a consultant for his goiter.
His goiter.
Yeah, his goiter.
Oh, what's wrong with his goiter?
Well, he hasn't been consuming enough iodized salt, he told me. So it's just a complication upon complication. You know, and it's sort of all about the neck area thing going on. He's got the nose going on. Now he's got the neck going on. That's got to be irritating. That's got to be really irritating. So my hat's off, not literally, but my hat's off to Clint. Poor Clint.
And if you haven't seen Clint in a while, he's got a huge goiter.
Yeah,
Really big goiter. It's enormous.
We'll know if he comes in next Wednesday and he has a big, like a scarf around his neck. Oh, he's wearing a turtleneck.
Maybe so.
He loves turtlenecks.
He does love turtlenecks. That's one of the things that we love about Clint is his snappy fashion. And certainly turtlenecks.
Wait, did you just call him a snappy fascist?
Yes, I did. A snappy fascist. That's Sackhead Clint for you, ladies and gentlemen. On the phone with us right now from the other coast, and of course a dear friend of the show and a dear friend of all of us, and the business diva herself, who, if you want to learn some shit, you need to listen. Is that accurate to say, Melanie? Miss Melanie Collette. Money Talk with Melanie, right here on SHR Media Network. And I almost showed Biz the big announcement. I'm going to let you do that, ma'am. But how are you, first of all? And welcome to the Sackheads. This is your first official appearance.
It is. It is my first official appearance on Sackheads. I'm excited.
We're excited to have you.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you wonderfully.
Okay, good.
And if you hear
Okay,
any
good.
pause or hesitation in my voice because I'm drinking my Manhattan while I'm expecting you to talk, you know, you're radio talent. You're supposed to be able to fill gaps for me.
I'm so very jealous. Well, here's the thing. I'm looking at your YouTube video, but of course the sound is down because I'm not like a complete rookie. And
Ma'am, can you turn your radio down, please?
Delay between your mannerisms
Well,
and your speaking. So
and I apologize for
But-
the YouTube delay. There's nothing I can do. It's merely an Apple problem. Melanie, you've been...
oh,
I knew that was
Now
good.
that didn't slip by her. That
No,
didn't go unnoticed.
That did not go unnoticed. I kind of figured I was going to catch one for that, but go ahead.
Oh, so anyway, so what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about Money Talk with Melanie? We can talk about that.
Oh no!
Zing!
No! Oh no! I aggravated the business diva. I was just.
No, I'm not aggravated.
You're just not going to put up.
I'm cranky because I'm auditing at a hotel this evening.
Okay. Well, then we can't.
Yeah.
We cannot have that at all. Money Talk with Melanie.
It's a very. Yeah.
Listen, I'm not going to lie. You said auditing, and I glazed over slightly, and actually BZ just woke up. So.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I said audit, money, numbers.
No,
counting.
money and numbers, I'm okay. Audit makes me want to start a pistol.
Understandably so. And doing it overnight at an oceanfront hotel is not good either.
Well, let's get to the
not.
happy stuff then. Your show, which is amazing,
Yes.
Money Talk with Melanie, and you've had some absolutely incredible guests on your show. First and foremost, ma'am, thank you for being with us on SHR Media and running your show through us.
She's had Fox News hosts on her show.
I know. Can
Thank
I
you
thank
for
her?
having me.
Can I thank her?
Right.
Yeah.
Hold on, I got to yell at BZ because he's coitus interruptus over here, or whatever they call it. Listen,
Hey,
BZ.
what is he doing?
He's just BZ in it. I'm only giving him a hard time because I can. He was actually bringing up a very good point. Your guest list and lineup on your show, Money Talk with Melanie, has been incredible. Fox News hosts, some amazing people.
Ebony Williams was on there.
Yes, she was. Some amazing financial geniuses that you have on your show. I actually, and I told you this a long time ago, being a money moron, I listen to your show on a regular basis. Half the time, I feel like I'm a monkey staring at a math problem, but I try to follow along. I have my crayon, and I think I do pretty well. I get my name all the way on the paper, and then I write a couple squiggly lines, and I throw it away.
Well, you know, as a professor, that's not really quite good enough.
Oh, you want to drop the professor? Let's talk
gonna
about
do a
what
little
makes you the business diva, because you are not only an amazing host, but you are also a professor. Yes.
I now a technology professor though. So if you ever need my expertise in that regard, I'm here for you. I'm actually I actually teach computers. I have a lot of talent apparently.
Well, you have to work around this group because, as Mark has learned, that you got to bring something to the table. And at least for me, anything anyone can help me do electronically, I'm like high-fiving it out there. Ask Dan Butcher, ask Jersey Joe. I have leaned on those folks so many times over the last many years. But you... So here's the funny part. You came to me, and I'll tell everyone the story because this shows you how dumb I am and how smart you are. You came to me about 2 months ago and said, hey, how do we do the YouTube thing? And you said, oh, well, I run a Mac. And I was like, well, you know, you might as well be speaking Swahili to me right now because I don't use Macs. I'm dumb. I don't get it.
I tried. I tried to use Macs.
Can't do it.
Everyone says they're incredibly intuitive. Okay, you're talking about BZ here.
Well, yeah,
and
me
intuitive.
too. Like, maybe you have to be a certain level of intelligent to use a Mac, and I'm just not there yet. So, and I said,
No.
I said, you know, here's the information you need to get on and broadcast YouTube, but I don't know what software you'd use. I don't know. And less than 16 hours later, Melanie was on the air live, and she produced this amazing show. And I went, holy shit, I've been researching our side of YouTube for like a month and a half now. So and then I had you teach Jeff Donetz about it. Because Jeff called me and said, well, how do I get on YouTube? And I said, Jeff, I don't have a frigging clue. You use Apple. Do me a favor, call Melanie.
Oh, that's how that happened.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I totally threw you under the bus, young lady. Totally threw you under the bus.
Oh, my God. That is too funny. I didn't realize that's how that happened.
You know how the
And thank you
SHR
for your
family
kind
works.
words, by the way.
Oh, I have nothing
Really
but kind
sweet of
words.
you for that.
All joking aside, your show is gangbusters. You do such an amazing job of production, how you present the show, the feedback for the show. Everybody who I know that has listened to it loves it. You do a great job. You represent this network, and as one of the owners, I absolutely cannot thank you enough with the class and the dignity that you bring to this network that we clearly don't on this show.
Well, we have to have.
You're killing me.
We have to have some class.
I'm getting a little verklempt.
We have to have it somewhere.
And
the
now,
black girl said verklempt. Yeah.
And now, you're bringing it to the next level, and tell everybody what that means. What are you doing? How are you making your change, and what is it?
So I've been thinking about switching the time for a little bit, and since I am now doing this auditing thing overnight, and I just did not feel I was bringing the energy to my show that I need, especially to talk economics and policy and all that kind of crazy stuff at 10 a.m. after not sleeping all night. So I asked if I could change the time.
Right.
And then Dan Butcher said, well, yeah, let's see what we have available. Do you want to go to 5 days a week? And I had been thinking about that for a little bit, just for continuity's sake.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, sure. And now Money Talk with Melanie is going to be on 5 days a week at a brand new time at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time during drive time. So I'm very excited about that.
Well, and you're also going to be just before your good friend, Ralph Chittum's.
I am.
And who just has another great show. I love Ralph. I love him to death. Of course, going to 5 days a week, what's your show going to cover? I mean, I know you do business and finance, but really kind of give people a little taste of where you like to hit, how it helps the average person who's just trying to balance their checkbook. I mean, and trying to get ahead in life.
Well, I always do. I usually talk to everything has to do with money, first of all. And so Money Talk with Melanie covers global politics, economics, and things like that, and finance. But it also connects it to your kitchen table.
Yes.
So, part of what I do, I love to teach. And so what I hope the show does is simplifies those things that we hear in the news and that we hear, that we see on the internet about finances and economics, and kind of breaks it down so that, like, even Sackhead Sean can understand it. And I'm kidding.
No, she's not kidding. And I'm included.
No, and then I usually have an expert on, and I try to interview the expert in such a way, like I said, that the information is simplified. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the show, I have a segment called 5 Minutes of Personal Finance, where I address just different concepts in personal finance. Mm-hmm. And on Fridays, I started a new segment called 5 Financial Term Friday. Financial Term Friday. So, and I literally just discuss financial terms that you hear. Last one I did last Friday had to do with terms related to debt, like interest rate and balloon loan.
I'm drinking Buffalo Trace bourbon. That's what you're talking about. I'm not even kidding. I'll get it right now and show you.
I'm so jealous. But I tried to make it as informative as possible, and I've been really fortunate to have some great guests. And now I'm to the point where people are actually coming to me and asking to be on my show. I had 3 people this week, this week, saying, like, when can I be on your show?
Oh, that's awesome.
Cray.
That's awesome. One of the things, and I've always thought with your 5 minutes that you do at the end of your every show, is to edit that 5 minutes out and have them be a standalone 5-minute download, because you drop such amazing wisdom in those 5 minutes, and some of the information that you've given out I've used myself.
You could take that show, you could take that 5 minutes and distribute it to a lot of the other people on SHR, and they can, during their show, hey, let's talk about 5 minutes with Melanie.
Absolutely.
Boom, there you go.
Absolutely. And it's, like I said, your show is always so well produced. You have such amazing guests, and obviously they're seeking you out now. That does say a lot about the depth of your show, the ability of you as the host, and what you bring to the table. And I think it's awesome. Like I said from the beginning, I thought your show has been amazing. since you came to us exclusively. And High Plains Pundit, but is he still in the chat room?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Yeah, he is. He's
Dan
right there.
Dan will hit me about that later. It has been nothing but great, and it's gotten better every single time. And I'll tell you, like I said, as one of the owners, and I speak for both of us, I really appreciate it. And I wish you nothing but the best. And by the way, you just seem to gloss over the fact that you're on Sirius XM on a regular basis. And I think that you need to brag a little bit right now, Melanie. Melanie? Did we lose her? Oh, we may have lost her.
No. That was me. No, sorry about that. No, I'm back. No, I guest host a show called Patriots Tonight on Sirius XM on Patriot Channel 125.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually guest hosting the next 2 nights, tomorrow night and Friday night. I'm glad you brought that up because I totally forgot about it.
And timing.
I'm back on Sirius XM Patriots Tonight from 9 p.m. to 12 midnight. And it's a call-in show.
It is a call-in show.
And harassment.
Oh, I should do that.
Yeah, it's a call-in, and it's news and politics, and it's so fun. I have such a great time.
And you guys,
it's a good time.
It is a really good show, and as always, you're miraculous on it. Money Talk with Melanie is going to be here Monday through Friday. Now, folks, you can get her 5 days a week right here on the SHR Media Network and High Plains Pundit. Excuse me. Melanie, ma'am, I know you're up to your eyeballs in paperwork and calculators and stuff, and we got to take a break. I appreciate you taking your time for us this evening.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having faith in me. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, nothing but faith in you. Your show is amazing, and you are as well, and we thank you.
Thank you, darling. Have a great night.
You as well.
Love you, Melanie. Take care.
Check her out, Money Talk with Melanie, right here on the SHR Media Network. We are up against a break, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, Jersey Ho himself, sorry. Oh, God, did that come out again? Jersey Joe will be joining us right here on the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Stick around.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show, also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians.
You got a business. You didn't build that.
A team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying carefully, stupid.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on SHRmedia.com.
The bloviating Zeppelin. He's big-footed enough radio shows to last a lifetime, courtesy of Sean, Clint, Ken, and Jersey Joe. Now it's time for him to waddle on his own 2 feet via the glorious SHR Media. Gird thy loins for the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. Coming soon to ossicles near you. Excelsior.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Excuse me, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Thank you again to Melanie Collette, Money Talk with Melanie, Monday through Friday, right here on the SHR Media Network. Joining us right now is a dear friend of the show's guy who's been with us here on the network for a long time now. Joe, we're into 3 years, I think, right?
Yeah. It's been a while now. 2014, I think?
Yeah, we're right up on 3 years, so it's definitely, it's been a couple years that you've been enduring us, and we appreciate it. Of course, Reaver of Common Sense, Jersey Jersey Joe, sorry.
I sit in the chat room. I'm not a hoe. I don't charge.
Well, you know what's funny is I sent out a text earlier to BZ, and we were talking about the show. And I said, hey, Melanie's coming on, and then Jersey Joe's going to come on and talk about what's going on in Florida.
Except
I spelled Jersey Ho. and, of course, BZ being BZ said, oh, he's going to forever be Jersey Ho now. That's just how it's going to be. So here we are.
You know what? It's not the first time I've been called that.
And it won't be the last time. And I know your wife, and I still can't believe she'd say that about you. Of course you...
I
Coach Joe's Reaver.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I lost you. You're cutting up a little bit there, Joey.
That better?
Yeah, that's a little bit better now.
All right, sometimes my phone in the room, like one spot it will be okay, another spot it won't work.
Yeah, that's like my back. That's like my back. Some positions I'm okay, and other positions it don't work. Joe, you're right there. Of course, in the path of Irma, it's starting to move in towards Florida. They're talking this weekend, correct?
Yeah, for my area, they're talking Sunday into Monday.
Yeah.
Now, while you guys were talking to Melanie, in the EMS field that I have a good friend of mine. He works for FEMA.
Mm-hmm.
And when was it? September 3rd, so it was that Saturday.
Yep.
He got deployed to Virgin Islands.
Right.
So he just posted about 4 hours ago. He's been posting videos of Irma as it's gone through. I think he's in St. Thomas right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he said they're just waiting for the winds to die down right now so they can get out and start assessing exactly how bad it is. But he's got videos of it's pretty nasty going through the Virgin Islands. But yeah, Sunday night they're saying for Orlando, Tampa, which at first I was like, this is going to go East Coast, we're going to be fine, Maybe a little wind, a little rain. And then I was listening to Sean Hannity's show. I hate to throw a name like that, but I was listening to him back from picking up my daughter. And he had an expert on. And all of a sudden he started talking about how Sunday evening into Monday morning, Orlando's going to get hit. And I was like, oh, that's 45 minutes west of Orlando and about 30 minutes east of Tampa.
Right.
So I'm sort of like in between the two. And then he turned around, both of them said, and Tampa's going to get hit. And I was like, shit.
Yeah.
Well, I was listening to the radio, and the Tampa mayor has already ordered a quote-unquote state of emergency for Tampa, the city of Tampa. Mm-hmm. He's ordered residents to evacuate if they're in a flood-prone area. He said it's going to be bad. Get the hell out now. My cousin lives 3 hours south of me. He left yesterday to head to Atlanta, Georgia. He's Boca Raton area.
Yeah, Boca.
But what it is saying that it looks like it's going to make that turn to the east a little bit, go up the east coast. But the thing is the size of Florida.
Yes.
Think of that. The size of Florida. So even if it's going up the east coast,
it's hitting the whole
it's
state.
still going to be hitting. With the reports I heard, it said if it's like a category 4 or 5, you could expect on the West Coast category 2 to 3 winds.
Yes.
So it now has me kind of going, maybe I underestimated this. They already canceled all the schools in this area for the next 2 days.
Wow.
All the shelves literally are empty. I went in to try to get like a 5-gallon, like one of those you put in a water cooler.
Yeah.
And gone. Shelves gone. Gatorade gone.
Everything.
So what I ended up doing, bread, eggs, milk. I was like, holy shit. Yesterday, it was 4 deep. I sent you that text that it was 4 deep in the gas stations.
Yes.
I was like, it's still a week away here, guys. And people have just been prepared. I guess they've been a little smart.
Yeah, very smart.
The only thing that's going to help me is I picked up some soda, a couple cases of soda with my table. That's something to drink. I have 2 5-gallon water coolers empty. Put some water in that.
Okay.
But for maybe doing some toiletry if we lose power and all that, I have a 275-gallon rain collection system outside.
Okay.
So I can use that water, so I'm pretty good on that aspect.
Well, and Joe, how's your booze stocks right now?
More important, yep.
Because with water, if there's anything in that rainwater, you can add a little booze to it, and it'll help knock it out. That's what they used to do on Navy ships way back when, on the days of scurvy and whatnot. So just keep that in mind.
And
how's
goiters.
Your booze reserves? And goiters.
They had goiters.
Well, I can't say how I came across it, but I have some homemade rum that's aging on top of my refrigerator, about 7 mason jars.
Okay.
It's 65 proof. So.
Well, that should be enough. That should definitely be enough.
Oh, it's flammable. That's enough.
My favorite part on that is that you actually, instead of saying it's strong, you described it as flammable. That kind of made my night. I'm not going to lie. I know they're evacuating everyone. Joe, you brought up the size of the storm. It's a monster. It's as actually wide as Florida is long. So it's not even the width of Florida. It's as wide as Florida is long. It looks like the east coast of Florida is going to get nailed. But you look at a whole bunch of different models that they're running right now, they're not sure either. You're talking, if you have the right high, just slide in or slide over a little bit, or the high that's sitting right now in the Gulf, slide a little bit to the left. It could come right up the west coast of Florida as well. So there's no way of knowing. And actually, the west coast of Florida would be worse than the east coast. Only you get into the Katrina theory, right? Once that water gets pushed into that Gulf, there's nowhere for it to go on the other side. Whereas on the east coast, the water gets pushed up to the shores, but it can also run up the coast to the north. There's relief for it.
Well,
There's
not
release.
just that. Hurricanes, their strong side, where the more damage is on the east side of the hurricane.
Right.
So if it's going the east side up the coast, the west side of the storm, which is the weaker side.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it comes up the Gulf side, it's going to be on the west side, and it's going to be hit with the strongest side.
And it's
Here's
also
one for you.
it's also going to be drawing off the warm water of the coast, the Gulf.
Yeah. Right before the show, though, my wife turns around and goes, maybe we ought to go get a generator.
Good luck finding one.
Exactly. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
You want a generator now? All right.
And, generators only as good as much gas as you can store. What are they advising you guys locally? Are they advising you to kind of shelter in place during those days? Are they advising you to get the hell out if you can? What are they telling you down there, Joe?
Right now, it's kind of, if you're in a flood zone, get the hell out of there.
Right.
South Florida, they call it evacuation. And the problem is that I was talking to Crash during my show because my cousin is actually leaving from Boca Raton. Yesterday he left. But I drove by I-75 today, and it's literally a parking lot.
Right.
Going north.
And it still is.
Everybody's trying to get out. There's only two main roads that go north and south. On the east coast, you have 95.
Mm-hmm.
And on the west coast, you have 75.
Mm-hmm.
You only have those two, and they're both locked up because you got millions of people trying to get out because you got a mandatory Key West.
Yep.
Broward County, which is Miami, it's mandatory. And everybody else, they're just, if you're in a flood area, get out of that.
So Broward County's become a mandatory evacuation? I did not hear that.
I believe that's what I heard before coming on the air, that they're telling everybody to get the hell out now.
Wow.
Because it looks like it's taking that turn and going to hit Miami head on.
Well, and it's one of those things, too, from a public, and I'll ask the both of yous, from a public safety aspect of things, the preparation for things like this, obviously people need to heed the warnings. If you're in that bad floodplain, if you're on the coast, obviously if you're in the Keys, when you put yourself in harm's way and you have a chance to avoid it, what you don't realize is you are then putting in the ways of the harm's way of the first responders who need to come save your ass. And they will come save your ass even if you're stupid. And, Joe, I know you've been a part of a bunch of situations like that. Mark, BZ is sitting across from me, the same thing. There's a difference between the U.S. Virgin Islands saying, hey, we're going to confiscate all your guns in lieu of Irma, and get the hell out because your life is at risk. Gentlemen, as well as I do, as much as we don't trust government on a regular basis, even though we've all worked for them at one time or another, the reality is there are times that you need to heed the warnings of government, and usually your local and state governments are the ones who are making that call and making the right call. If they're telling you to go, you need to go.
Well, the one problem that I saw, and I being in their shoes that I have been, I know they will deal with it. The tactical rescue that's going to be responsible for doing a lot of the responding, they literally just got in today from Texas. They just returned from Texas. So they've been there for like a week. They're exhausted. Yep. Supplies are used up, so they got to restock,
everything,
get some rest, and get ready to go right back to work on it. But you know how it is. That hit, the adrenaline hits, and they're just going to be going.
Yeah.
But, some of these people, they just... I never understood, especially when I'm not trying to knock anybody, but when I was looking at Katrina, people were warned to get the hell out, and everybody went, screw it, I'm going to stay. And then it was, cry because the government didn't come in and save them quick enough when they were told to get the hell out of there.
Well, and that's a good example, and that's why I asked you, Joe. You were one of the first responders at Katrina. You were involved in the rescue and evacuation of as an EMS worker at the time and firefighter. You've seen firsthand, especially with a bad hurricane, the amount of damage, destruction, death that goes hand in hand with it. People need to be smart about this. You need to get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah. Stop expecting that everybody else is going to come in and save your life when all you have to do is save your own life.
Yeah, move north.
I actually got a joke for you that deals with this.
Okay.
So there's a gentleman. The police come and say, listen, there's a flood coming. You need to leave your house. He looks and says, God will save me. So they leave, and the levees breach, and the water comes in. They come in with a boat. They say, listen, another levee's going to break. You've got to leave now. He says, God will save me. Another levee breaks. This guy's up on his roof drowning. They come in with a helicopter. You got to leave. There's going to be enough last levee that it's going to wash your house out. He looked at me and said, God will save me. No sooner did they leave, and the levee breaks, and he drowns. He goes to heaven, and he asks God, I thought you were going to save me. God looks at him and said, I sent you a police car, a police boat, and a police helicopter. How many times did I have to try to save you?
It's true. It's absolutely true. Sometimes you have to look at the people doing his work versus the action itself.
Yeah, it's scary like that the way people. But one thing is, you're talking Virgin Islands is taking your guns away. Here in Florida, Rick Scott actually signed a new law that if there's an evacuation, you don't need a permit to concealed carry at that point. You're allowed to conceal carry.
Once again, Governor Scott being a smart man, I absolutely applaud that. You look at Antigua and Barbados. From what I'm hearing, Barbados, however you want to pronounce it, is 95% destroyed. And
really?
That tells you, yeah.
Wow.
Antigua's not faring too much better. So you start talking about the depth of the storm and the strength of the storm, and it's pretty horrific.
Well, I forget who Hannity had on. He had some expert on. He said there's an island that only has like 2,000 people, and they have not heard from anybody on the island. They're just hoping the communications got knocked out their brain. That's all it was. But he said he could see it being possibly worse than that.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm hoping is, this is bad on my point. My in-laws just booked the whole family a trip to St. Croix in July. So I'm hoping that place is rebuilt by then.
Oh, right. They'll get right on that.
Just for you. Jersey Joe, Reaver of Common Sense.
I know that's bad, but
typical.
All right, let's get on with the show, sir.
Typical hose dragger. What are you going to do for me? Monday through Friday, right here, 6 p.m. on the East, 9 on the West Coast, the Reaver of Common Sense with Jersey Joe. Sir, thank you so much. Hey, you and your family stay safe through all of this. Check in with me on a regular basis, please. And if you need anything, just let me know, brother.
I'll let you know. All right. Talk to you guys later.
All right, Joe. We love you.
Care,
Thanks,
Joe.
buddy. There he goes, Jersey Joe.
Conservative media done right.
Time for a sweeper.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
I never time a sweeper like that.
We are.
We are listening to the SHR Media Network. Joe, as we were talking about it, we did dabble into the U.S. Virgin Islands. I know we haven't done a lot of politics this show, and the next hour is going to be stock full of it. We might as well start now a little bit. The governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands signed an emergency declaration going into Hurricane Irma, essentially giving the state National Guard the right to confiscate legally owned firearms from people around the island.
Isn't that odd? I wrote about that today on my blog.
Yes, you did, bloviatingzeppelin.net. I want to remind people two things. U.S. Virgin Island is a U.S. territory and protected by the Constitution. The Republican, or the governor, was a Republican.
And a moron.
I didn't see the M next to the R when they play his name. They put the little R in the corner and the M in the corner.
Right.
Yeah,
well, that's new. That'll be
be
next.
added on.
Yeah.
BZ, you did write all about that on bloviatingzeppelin.net. The precedence of it is absolutely incredible, isn't
Where
it?
people seem to think they get their powers befuddles me sometimes. And he tried, the interesting point about that is he tried to walk this back. I was watching Tucker Carlson tonight, and he tried to walk it back. If you read that, go to bloviatingzeppelin.net. It's right at the top of the page. I've got a copy of the actual issuance right there. And I've got the salient portions highlighted. You can read the entire page. That people were saying, he was trying to intimate that there's some kind of, you can interpret it in perhaps a myriad of ways. No, fuck no. There's only one way to interpret it. I'm coming for your damn guns.
National Guard can take your guns and give them to the state. Amen. Alleluia. Have a nice day. That's what it read. No matter how he wanted to walk it, right?
Well, okay, here's blah, blah, blah. The Adjutant General is directed, pursuant to a whole bunch of legal crap, to take whatever actions he or she considered necessary to carry out the assigned mission in accordance with blah, 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 legalese. The Adjutant General...
Bullshit.
Pretty much. The Adjutant General is authorized and directed to seize guns, ammunition, explosives, incendiary material, and any other property. Stop. not just guns. This is even more overarchingly sinister as far as I'm considered. Incendiary material and any other property that may be required by the military forces for performance of their emergency mission in accordance with the rules of force, etc.
Whoa.
Let's see.
Whoa.
Let's see. Didn't a revolution start behind that concept?
Yes.
The answer is
hell fucking yes, it did. It's absolutely incredible.
So it's, okay, it's guns, yes. But he just provided himself
carte blanche
license to go in and, let's see, if I want your car, I'm taking your car. If I like your house,
I need to.
I'm taking your house.
Fuck the Fourth Amendment.
And you'll have to find some other place to live. You know, on the U.S. Virgin Islands, I'm sure there are lots of places for people to go.
Right.
If the government decides to take your house, your car,
plenty,
your daughter,
plenty of room,
whatever,
plenty of room.
You know, hey, listen, I need more sandbags moved. So why don't we just start conscripting young children?
So, and here's
Make
the thing:
them work too. Damn it!
You know,
they have strong little shoulders.
This guy's a governor of a U.S. territory.
Perhaps not for long.
Perhaps not for long. And a Republican nonetheless, because and I don't know a lot about the U.S. Virgin Islands, but from what I understand, it's fairly conservative.
No, of that I have no.
And the fact that there's so many guns that they have to sign a declaration like this will tell you that it's probably more conservative than people realize. And this guy's going to get himself hosed.
Well, I read it. I wrote in the article, I said, okay, you're going to take guns.
Yes.
That means you feel it necessary that somewhere along the way there are so many guns on the island, which apparently results in so much crime that you feel the obligation, not just kind of the motivation, but you feel the obligation to take those guns.
Funny you should mention that. So earlier today,
either you're screwing up or on that side by taking things, or it's the Wild West and you're not doing your job there either.
So I was doing a little research after reading your article today, and I did some research on the U.S. Virgin Islands. I found out two things that I was not aware of. One, they're having a hell of a time getting police officers for the U.S. Virgin Islands because of the entrance exam is too difficult and the academy is too difficult, and they're talking about trying to advertise in the mainland to try to get people to go over and be officers. That's number one.
Well, how big is their pool? Answer, not very big.
Not very big at all. Number two, there's been a incredible rise in gun violence over the last 10 years to the point that they've added 300-400 officers through the entire territory. So your question as to, well, is there a spike in gun violence or another reason why somebody may want to have this? Yes.
And whose fault was that? That brings up another point, and I don't have the answer to this, but I'm just going to throw it out there for anybody that happens to be, their favorite search engine. The current governor,
the Ugle,
right? The current governor, you say, is a Republican, and that's how I wrote in the article. I'm curious. What were the affiliations of the prior governors? Were they all Republicans, or was there a history of Democrats,
and one
which
moderate,
perchance built up the problem, the issue, like other personnel for the past 8 years, and the issues, these fomenting issues, were never addressed, and now, boom, they just get placed in the lap of this dude. I don't know the answer. I'm just curious.
I don't know the answer either, but it's very strange to think, and like Jersey Joe said, you have Governor Scott in Florida who says, hey, if they declare a state of emergency, you don't need a CCW. You just go. Virgin Islands, because we're declaring a state of emergency, you get to turn all your shit in.
Or is the police, whatever, however effective they may or may not be?
I don't know.
Are they Are they out of weapons?
Nope.
They need to go. Let's see. Today, I think I'd like to confiscate a whole bunch of SIGs. Let's say, gentlemen, okay, here's what we're doing. National Guard, we're going to look for as many SIG 226s as we can get, because that's what we'd really like to have in the department. So you got your marching orders.
Go get it, boys.
Go find SIG 226s.
Well, and then it brought up the question of how big could the U.S. Virgin Islands National Guard be?
Well, last I heard it was Jim.
Yeah.
and Bill.
I know the Puerto Rican
and
National
Tanisha,
Guard.
And so that's 3.
I know Puerto Rican National Guard is pretty substantial, but they have a very large population in Puerto Rico. I never even thought to ask about the Virgin Island National Guard because I didn't realize it existed. I'll be the first one to say that.
If the indigenous people to Puerto Rico are Puerto Ricans, are the indigenous people to the U.S. Virgin Island virgins?
Those are questions that may never be answered, and we certainly won't be able to answer it here tonight on the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network.
I know why, too.
Why is that?
Well, it's the top of the hour.
It is top of the hour. It's top of the hour here from Bar Harbor. Right here.
Damn, I'm having a good time.
Right.
I bet you are, too.
I am having a blast right here on the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. By the way, found this today. Dang Butterscotch Root Beer.
Dang
Butterscotch Root Beer. Really good. It's got an orange label. Nice and orange, so you can't miss it if you go through the store. Try it out. It's pretty incredible. I like a good root beer, and I got to give this one credit. Dangs with the orange label. Nailed it. Friggin' nailed it. We'll be back here on the Sackheads Radio Show. That wasn't a paid promo. I just did that for the hell of it. Live on the SHR Media Network. Back in a minute.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians.
You got a business. You didn't build that.
A team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying Catholic is stupid.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on SHRmedia.com.
The bloviating Zeppelin. He's big-footed enough radio shows to last a lifetime, courtesy of Sean, Clint, Ken, and Jersey Joe. Now it's time for him to waddle on his own 2 feet via the glorious SHR Media. Gird thy loins for the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. Coming soon to Ossicles near you. Excelsior.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
back to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. If you have a chance, make sure you check out our good friends over at High Plains Pundit. Dan and the team always brings you amazing coverage, news, stories, everything you need to know to stay up to date on everything that's going on in politics.
I got to tell you, I found out one thing last night. I talked to... I got to tell you, this was incredible. I spoke to Dan Butcher for 2 damn hours
2 hours
last
of Danny.
night. Actually, I had a great time.
You know what's funny is when I was in Texas a couple years ago with Danny, I think we must have talked over a course of 3 days, probably close to 36 hours, because you know how I talk. I talk a lot. And Danny talks a lot. And between the two of us, I thought Jane was going to kill us because we didn't shut up the whole time we were there. We just yacked, yak.
But I found out this about Dan's empire, and now I finally realize it's a media empire, because he told me, I said, Dan, how do you put so much content up on your page? Because, by the way, Dan, I should tell you, I went to highplainspundit.com. That's where you need to go to find Dan. And I went there and I looked and I saw, just like he said, well, he's changed the website
amazingly.
And it looks in
fantastic.
My opinion, I think it's a lot easier to navigate.
And there's a lot of information there, but it's easy to go through.
It's easy to find. But that said, I found out, because, if I post, my goal is to post 1 new article a day, sometimes 2, on exceptional occasions, maybe 3. Dan himself writes, I thought, okay, well, Dan, and I was talking to him last night, I said, Dan, you write 4 or 5 articles a day. And he says, no, I write 6 to 7 to 8 or 9. Plus, I found out he has a staff of 12 writers.
Yes, he does.
That's a media empire. I'm sorry.
It is a media empire. And he is incredible at it, and Jane is as well, and they do such a good job. And so make sure you check them out.
His wife.
Oh, Jetsons was a great show.
Loved it.
So, we always get feedback middle of the show before we start going into DACA. And a buddy of mine texted me and said, hey, you know what? You've said the word orange more times tonight on the show than I've ever heard come out of your mouth. Orange. You just keep saying orange. And I just laughed because it brought me back. I love 2 types of jokes. Dad jokes have always been one of the favorites of mine. And one of my favorites that I've seen recently is, one year Dad brings his son on his birthday to one of those bounce house places, and it's $5 to get in.
Okay.
The next year they go back, and it's $10. And the mother says to the father, how is it possible that it went up this much over the last year? And the father looks at the mother and goes, well, that was easy. It's inflation.
I'm sorry. Why did I bid on that one? I shouldn't have laughed. Good God. That's like the standard pirate joke. Why are pirate jokes so bad? Because they are.
They are. And so, but the orange comment brought me to a joke that my uncle told me years ago that always just made me laugh as a kid. And it's a knock-knock joke, and it's I'll do it with you now.
Okay.
Knock-knock.
Who's there?
Banana.
Banana who?
Knock-knock.
Who's there?
Banana.
Banana who?
Knock-knock.
Who's there?
Banana.
Banana who?
Knock-knock.
Who's there?
Orange.
Orange who?
Aren't you glad I didn't say banana? And I can remember being like 9 years old and laughing my ass off at that joke for hours. So
that's something that you can focus on for a kid. And,
yes.
And then when you do that and you're a kid, then you have to find 75 new kids to tell that in a row. That's like kids have the amazing ability to take one movie and want to see the same movie 75 times.
I was that kid.
In 3 days.
I was that kid.
Dad, can we see Bambi again? No, don't ask. Dad, can we see the movie about the fish again? No.
It just reminds me just the little things in life that you think of that are really funny and remind you just that sometimes simplicity is best. And dad jokes I always like because my dad was the king of dad jokes. So let's say, God, I guess we should get serious at some point.
Why? Why should we?
DACA. This week, President Trump rescinded the DACA order issued by President Obama that essentially said if you're illegal and you're here, the hell with it. We ain't doing shit about it. You can stay, do whatever the hell you want. There ain't much we're going to do to you. I'm just definitely going to have to just not have any enforcement whatsoever. President Trump this week said no. We're going to suspend DACA for 6 months. Then Congress has to do something. Has to do something.
Well, now, if you look at it from the leftist American media maggot / fucktard view, what that means is that, 800,000 dreamers will be immediately deported, along with the 15 to 20 million other illegals that are in the United States of America, because that's what's going to happen. Everybody knows that's what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. So gather your people, gather your skirts.
The left is going insane.
And I have a great idea. Because Justin Trudeau says, go to Canada.
Right.
Welcome one and all. Oh, wait, no, he doesn't say that because they're already moving to Canada. It's just a microscopic portion of the people that come into the United States. And already Trudeau said, I can't take it anymore.
Yes.
Welcome to our world.
Welcome to hell, baby.
Jesus, you moron.
Well, and here's
I'm going to have to think of a new word other than moron.
Is when Obama issued this order last year sometime, all he was doing was suspending the law through executive action. So it being put back into effect, it's not this egregious constitutional violation that people are making out to be. No, you're literally just enforcing the law that's on the book, and as the president, the executive of this nation, it is your job to make sure that the laws are being enforced. And because immigration falls directly under the executive branch, then he can rescind it legally and order them to enforce it legally. He is well within his constitutional right. Just because you feel bad for somebody doesn't mean that it's right.
I'd like to point out the obvious, and this is one thing that the leftists and the Democrats have in spades over the GOP and conservatives, and that's this: the confiscation of words and branding.
Yes.
Whoever branded this, and provided the appellation of dreamers to these people was a genius, because who wants to stomp on the rights of dreamers? That was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. The branding on that was fabulous. Another example, the ACA. The Affordable Care Act, which was everything
but affordable.
That.
But you also had the architect of the ACA come out publicly saying that they bamboozled the people of this country.
And then got arrested for fraud.
Yes.
It doesn't get any.
That story goes nowhere.
Not covered, though, by the American media maggots. Can't understand why.
And that's why when we start talking about DACA and these leftist loons that are going crazy, and you had what's her friggin' bucket Cher come out today and say, hey,
finally,
it's your job. It's your job to get all of these poor dreamers and hide them in your homes, and I'll start first.
I have to have it. I have to hand it to Cher. Number one, she actually opened up a home. Great. Good on her. Number two, I hope she has a line of 11,000 people waiting with bated breath, because what else could you do? Lining up for blocks at her gate, because she's got a home with a gate.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait. Oh. If they climb over the fence and not go through the proper vetting process, will she have them arrested?
Ooh.
Would she consider that to be trespassing?
So, in other words, if she didn't come in through the one gate and those people were being checked to make sure they weren't bad people, have drugs, guns, knives, something like that.
That's judgmental.
And then somebody said, hey, I can't wait in this line. I'm just going to go over the wall and do it my way.
Yeah.
Would she have action take, especially if they kick in her front door and start rummaging through all of her stuff and breaking more laws while they're in there, would she have them arrested? I've had this.
She has rights too, damn it. As a private person, doesn't she have property rights?
Some sort of.
Doesn't she have the right to say who comes into her house because it belongs to her, right? Doesn't she have property rights? Isn't her house sovereign?
Yes.
So shouldn't she have?
And shouldn't
she be the decision maker as to who gets accepted and who gets turned away?
Absolutely. BZ, I had this conversation.
No, she shouldn't.
BZ, I had this conversation with my son right around the time the Trump election was coming up, and he's 6. And he said, Dad, right. And he said, Dad, everybody at school says that a lot of my friends will have to go back to Mexico if Trump is elected. And I said, what do you mean? They said, well, they're going to be, he called them report them, but he said, they're going to deport him. And I said, let me ask you this, son. I said, we live in a house, right? And he said, yeah. I said, we have doors and locks, right? He said, yeah. I said, why? And he said, well, so nobody takes our stuff. And I said, right. I said, can you imagine if I went home today and took out all my windows and all the doors in the house? What would happen then? He's like, well, eventually somebody would come in. And I said, right. What's inside that house? All of our stuff. And what do you think will happen? Somebody's going to take it. He said, yeah. I said, so you look at the country like our house. It doesn't mean that everybody who comes in is a bad person. However, there are rules. We have locks on the door of the nation for a reason. We have procedures for a reason. We have certain things we have to protect. You look at your school. Prime example. If I'm not saying that any kid in there is a bad person. However, the numbers in your classroom would be smaller. And you would have better instructional opportunities. Hospitals being overrun with people that are not here legally. They give no information. They get treatment and they leave. And then guess who ends up eating that? The people that pay insurance. It is a huge issue, an enormous issue. Go ahead.
I just percolating around in my fetid, knurled brain. Was this?
Did we lose chat altogether?
You were. No, there's still an Oslo to people in.
Okay,
in chat.
good. I'm sorry.
As a matter of fact, Mike's in chat, Mary's in chat, Dan's in chat, Melanie's in chat, BMP's in chat, Dave's in chat, and 3 viewers are in chat.
Viewer 1, 2, and 3.
But the first thing, as you were talking, that came into my brain is, okay, you're rationalizing things to a 6-year-old who is understanding them and agreeing with you in a much more ready fashion than any adult leftist.
Yes.
And you're making a rational argument, and your 6-year-old is understanding the rational, factual argument that you're making because you're using an analogy that's based in truth and fact. He gets it. They don't. Hello.
Kindergartner.
Hello. This is the world in which we live.
I literally could teach this to a kindergartner, but I can't teach it to grown-ass liberals.
But that's the first place my wacky brain went
No,
is,
you're
okay,
right. You're 100% right.
You're talking to a 6-year-old who groks your concept, but the rest of these tards don't.
They can't figure it out. And here's the thing. They can figure it out. They choose not to. And we've talked about why the left wraps their arms around illegal immigration. Because what happens is they start going on the welfare system. They eventually get their path to citizenship. And because they're already in the system on the path to citizenship, who are they going to vote for? The people that are going to take it away or the people that are going to leave it in place? The people that are going to leave it in place. The leftists. So it's self-preservation for the leftists as a political party, not as a nation. They don't care about the nation. They care about the political party.
And
we start talking about when the political party gets bigger than the nation, the Democrats rule the roost in that. Absolutely rule the roost. And that's what it's all about. It's about keeping power to the party. It's very much like communists. It doesn't matter.
Power? I sang my outro last night, and I may sing it tomorrow night.
Okay.
But I could sing now, power to the people right on. Because I've heard that before.
Yes.
Somewhere. Here's the most interesting point about all of this. Trump is Satan. He's Mephistopheles on earth.
Yes.
Wherever he walks,
Nebuchadnezzar.
the dead...
Rise.
Okay. I'm going to do this again. Wherever he walks, the dead...
Head.
Orange cat on his. I gave you the opening. I'm
the
here,
dead orange cat.
I'm here to be I'm here for you. Okay, I'm here for you all night.
I'd forgotten about it already.
I really am, and I'm trying to help. I'm doing everything I can to help. But the guy with the dead orange cat on his head, wherever he goes, there's the smell of sulfur.
Yes.
But think, what does he really want to do? I've said for years and written since I started the blog in 2004, Democrats, leftists, anarchists, American media maggots, just come out and say what you really mean.
Yeah.
Two things I value all the time. Honesty, clarity. Be honest, be clear.
Yes.
Now Trump is giving them the opportunity. And what I mean by that is go back. If you don't like these laws, because we are a nation of laws, well,
Yes.
that's up for debate too.
We're a nation of rules and guidelines.
Yeah, they're
now.
sort of suggestions.
Yeah, they're more.
Yeah, depending on who you are and what segment you are in terms of identity politics, they're just sort of guidelines and hints. They're a series of hints and suggestions. With that in mind, though, Trump has basically said, and is constitutional in doing so, and he said, this is an idea, a concept that needs to go back to the legislature, and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah.
And now I say, okay, House, Senate, put up or shut the fuck up.
Right now.
Change the laws. You don't like the laws, change
But
the
BZ,
laws.
this brings us to the fact that you have a Congress that has, what, a 14% approval rating
Yeah, I
right
think
now?
they're negative 19 now.
And I forget, it was somebody on Sirius I was listening to, but they were talking about the history of immigration and why no Congress who is politically expedient over what's important to this country will ever pass real immigration because it may cost them a seat left side or right side. And they're more worried about that than they are actually passing a real immigration package.
But this is the perfect opportunity. See, if I were a leftist, what I'd be doing is branding this.
Force the vote.
Here's your opportunity. And then gather all your people and then see if you can make that shite fly.
Force the vote.
Rally the troops around, because, you know for a fact you're going to get some Republicans that are going to go along with this too.
Yeah.
You know that for a fact because they're pussies.
And they're going to.
And they're going to do that because that's part of their jobs.
But in all honesty, but you know where they stand.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it. Force that vote. He has taken the opportunity and handed it to you. Take it.
And you may see the next election and the election after that a gigantic change in Congress because of it.
Then suffer the consequences,
Yes.
you nitwits.
Yeah. Or stand up and be strong and vote against it.
Stand up. Hey, if you're principled, and I'm sure leftists, anarchists, Democrats, certainly
All
the
of them.
American media maggots, they're principled. Well, live or die behind your principles.
Yes.
Because isn't that what you want to do? Represent.
Well, listen, we all can't be Dianne Feinstein or Barbara Boxer.
No.
Yeah.
No, that's true. Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris.
Nope, can't do it.
Al
be prudent.
Frankenstein. All of these people.
But he just gave you an opportunity. And if you are as honest to your philosophies and your views, and you are every bit saying and have said for years, yours is not an external view. Yours is the mainstream view.
Yes.
Everyone in America wants this. Everyone in America says this. Well,
and I'll tell you right now, if I'm a party leader, I'm a true party leader, if I'm a Republican Party leader, I do want to force that vote. Because if I'm true to what I'm supposed to be true to, and follow the Republican ideology
Damn you for
and the
saying
Constitution, then I want to force that vote because I want to know who's sitting behind me that's not going to fall into line and not going to adhere to the Constitution. So I want to force that vote too. The problem is the two idiots, Ryan and McConnell, neither one of them want to vote on this because it could hurt their reelection chance. So they're not going to force it.
You just went the exact same place that I was going to go if you didn't, but God bless you for doing that. Yes. Do they really want a vote?
No.
Sean, what's the answer to that one?
No. No, it puts them on record one way or the other. Right now, it's all talk and hyperbole, right? You can flap your gums all day long about what you want, what you want, what you want, what you want.
Oh, like health care.
Like health care.
Like illegal immigration.
But when the defecation hits the oscillation and it's time to pull that big red handle, these guys don't have the spine to do it. And what the funniest part is I don't think they're intelligent enough to realize if they did it and they voted for a good immigration package, one that adheres to the Constitution, restores our borders, and does a lot to limit illegal immigrants and deport illegals, their chances for re-election would go through the roof. Because I think more people in this country oppose illegal immigration than are for the Dreamer and the DACA.
You put yourself just for a moment as, say, someone from Mexico.
Okay.
And you have a family, you have a wife, you have a couple of kids, and you just want to do your job.
Yep.
You want to be an American.
Mm-hmm.
You want to speak English.
Uh-huh.
You want to partake in the benefits that occur when you're an American. And let's say your family, originally from Mexico, you petitioned the United States government. And you went through the entire process, and you decided because we're the, I don't know, pick a name. We're the Sanchez family, and we have principles.
We'll call them the Smiths from Mexico.
Okay, let's say you're the Smiths from Mexico. And it's the Sanchez family, and you have principles.
Yes.
And you've gone through all the steps, and it took you quite a while.
Long
I
time.
bet it took you some dollars, too. But you know what? You took that oath. You went to a big building somewhere with lots of other people that were going to become citizens. You raised your hand. You took the oath. And now you are a lawful American citizen.
Yes.
How would you feel if your federal government continues to say, both sides, you know what? Those people that violated the law, that's cool. And further, we're going to put them ahead of people that did the exact same thing that it took you years and dollars to accomplish. How does it make those people feel? Because you know what? Those people from Mexico, they vote too.
Well, and you know what's funny is I have spoke to many people who have immigrated here and become citizens.
Yeah, and stop with Mexico. It's not just Mexico.
No, it's countrywide from everywhere.
I know someone from France 10 years ago who took 8 years to become a citizen. And about $10,000. But that was then.
Yes.
Now it makes me wonder how much money it costs these days.
20.
And how much time, additional
20.
time, that it takes.
Yeah.
But she decided she wanted to do it right. She decided that she'd haven't had enough of France. And that's just one person. Now multiply that times the nations, the persons that want to come in. They want to do it right.
Conservative media.
What do they think?
Done right. You're listening to the SHR
I bet they're not real happy.
Network.
Why would they be really happy?
And they vote too.
They do vote. And here's the thing, too, is...
That's why the vote, they want to give the vote to illegals, because that shit would stop.
Immediately. It would stop immediately. It's just so frustrating to think. You know, when you talk about your first act in a nation is to start breaking its laws, it doesn't really bode well for the type of citizen you're going to be.
Again, I said this for years. I said it to Melanie when she was on my show about 3 weeks ago. You know what? In terms, this thing called equality has a really funny quality to it.
Inequality.
And that's this. No one is equal until everyone is equal.
Right.
And I don't mean preference or stair-stepped. I mean actual equal. Until there's true equality, there is no real equality. If we're a nation of laws, bound by laws,
Right.
then it's going to eventually get to the point where people are going to decide in and of themselves, on their own, that these are suggestions, they're hints, and it's like choosing from a menu. Today, I'll have one from column A and one from column B. I don't want anything from column C, and D is right out.
Thy should neither count out two.
I knew you'd go there. Thank you. See, again, this is me. I'm here for you. I'm here to help you.
And then proceed to 4. 5 is right out. Such an amazing...
The holy hand grenade. But it's true. Someday, somewhere, if we keep down this road, an individual, a conglomerate of individuals, a murder of individuals are going to say, I don't feel like obeying this law anymore.
But why would they have to?
Why would I have to?
Why does anyone have to?
The precedent has already been set.
Thank you. You had a former president say it's okay to ignore this law.
I have him on video. I played him last night.
So if I, an American citizen, born and raised here, pay my taxes and abide by the Constitution, well, if they don't have to abide by the laws and rules, why do I have to?
The president said in mirrored in video, which I played last night, that there will essentially be no consequences for anyone who votes illegally. In other words, we're not going to come to your house and snatch you right out of your crib.
No Elian Gonzalez treatment that the Democrats did.
Yeah. Bill Clinton. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, we're up against a break.
We are.
When we come back, North Korea.
It's still there.
It's still there and still being a pain in the ass. All that and more right here on the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show, also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians.
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
A team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying half of the stupid.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on SHRmedia.com.
The bloviating Zeppelin. He's big-footed enough radio shows to last a lifetime, courtesy of Sean, Clint, Ken, and Jersey Joe. Now it's time for him to waddle on his own 2 feet via the glorious SHR Media. Gird thy loins for the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. Coming soon to ossicles near you. Excelsior.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us.
We still got a lot of people in chat. That's great.
Who do we have in chat? What are they talking about?
They're talking about everything. We still got Mike in chat.
Hey,
we
Mike.
got Big Mouth Patriot in chat. We got Melanie in chat. Dave Milner. It's a little late for Mary, so she had to go nighty-night.
We
and
still love Mary.
2 viewers. We lost 1 viewer.
Oh, no.
I know. But they come here because they know they will not, unlike the federal government, be unmasked. We do not unmask. We do not unmask our viewers. We don't. That's our policy.
No, we do not unmask anybody. Speaking of unmasked, North Korea unmasked a nuclear test this weekend. I believe the test started with 3, 2, 1. Hello. Registered 5.6 on the Richter scale, immediately deemed an underground nuclear test bigger than the H-bomb that was used in Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
Yeah, about 40 times so.
Yes. Gigantic advancement for North Korea's BZ. Your reaction?
I spoke about this. I tried to do some tactical considerations. Myself and Dan Butcher last night kind of went tactical over this for a while. We did a lot of if-then scenarios, but there are some other things that have come into the mix. There are some missiles that have been moved west on the on the North Korean side, which means that most of their stuff, a lot of their stuff is fixed, but many of their missiles are portable.
Yes.
So if they don't have a great deal of confidence in the range of their missiles, depending on where they want to go, that's where you're going to try to move your missiles. A number of their launches have moved west. That's telling me one particular very specific thing. Hello, North America.
Yes.
Plus, we already know that they've lofted some shite over Hokkaido
Yes.
in Japan, sending a lot. There's the market for new trousers in pants in Japan is really,
Did you
really
see
good
the video
right now.
There's a couple videos from out of Japan. It was very creepy. It reminded me of the drills here in the 60s that you see videos of.
I lived through that.
Oh, yes, you did. The announcements.
We had duck and cover. We were trained by our teachers to, number one, stay away from the windows, and number two, huddle in a fetal position under our desks.
And not that would stop anything.
No,
but
that just was really stupid. Oh, and we had CD placards everywhere.
It just means that you would roll.
Yeah.
When the
Yeah, it just depends on which, how you get vaporized first.
Yeah.
You want to get vaporized with your back facing the blast, or do you want to get vaporized
Face
with your
first?
Face first.
Right.
So it's it's all about choices. It's up to you.
Yes. But I watched that video, and I couldn't understand what the announcement was because it was in Japanese, and I'm not as fluent in Japanese as I wish.
But you are fluent in Japanese.
Somewhat. Arigato.
Domo.
Konnichiwa.
Hi.
Ohio. Not just a state.
Kentucky.
So, but as you listen to it, it's a very ominous announcement that's repeating over and over again. I am sure it's something to the effect of air raid siren, take cover.
I have a Kentucky joke.
Okay.
Okay, this guy's walking along, and all of a sudden there's a flatbed truck, and he stops, and he listens, and the supervisor of this group is saying, green side up. Green side up. And he listens to that for about 15 minutes, and walks up to the supervisor of the group, and he says, I've been watching you guys out here, the laborers, but you're saying green side up, and I don't understand what's going on. He says, well, the briars are laying sod.
So, I've heard that joke differently. I was told it as a blonde joke.
Okay.
That there's a foreman sitting next to a field, and all of these blondes are out there working. Same precedent. So, green side up. Listen, we start talking about North Korea. Obviously, the advanced missile tests of the last couple months. Now you have this very, very large H-bomb that gets cooked off. They're not going away. And the threat is becoming more and more imminent. And now they're provoking, and I don't remember a couple years ago, if people remember when the North Koreans sunk the South Korean ship, hit it with a submarine. They have a tendency to ratchet up how far they can get. They shelled the island.
Like Melanie said in chat, the struggle is real.
Yeah, the struggle is real. And now they're launching, and they knew that missile was, somebody was like, well, maybe they miscalculated. No, they knew that missile was going to go over northern Japan. They knew where it was going to go. That was a test of defense. They were testing Japan's air defense.
Yeah, it's very purposeful, extremely purposeful. But as I pointed out to Dan last night, now the onus is on China. Because if you recall, China said, if there's a final nuclear test, there are going to be some very serious consequences, North Korea, to your having done this.
Yes.
Question. Have you seen any consequences? Yes. It's an if-then equation. If there are consequences, then, okay, China means what it says. Another if-then equation. If there are no consequences, then is China the same paper tiger as North Korea perceives the United States of America?
And I think yes. I think China is a bigger paper tiger than people think. I think that they do a really good job of show and tell, but I don't think there's any action behind them.
Economically, they're not the powerhouse that they were, say, 5 years ago. They're not sitting in that catbird seat anymore.
Militarily,
strong sons of bitches,
right?
But they're spending a lot of money trying to be the U.S., going to third world countries, handing out dollars, money for infrastructure projects to get people to feel much better about China stepping into their countries and assisting with cash, etc. But those have consequences too, as well as the billions and billions of dollars that they spent putting an island in the middle of the South China Sea.
Yes.
That's not cheap either.
No. Oh, God, I can't even imagine. The sackheads need an island.
Wouldn't that be cool? Number one, I think for advertising purposes, the sackheads need either an MRAP or a Lenco Bearcat.
I'm going to go with the MRAP. They're cheaper. They're cheaper to purchase.
That's right.
The Bearcat, that's some heavy coin.
Yeah.
Right now, you're getting discharged MRAPs that are getting handed out left and right. Why shouldn't I have one?
This just again popped into my fetid little squalid skull. You know, the federal government didn't want to give militarized equipment over to local law enforcement.
Obama didn't want
to. Over to local law enforcement agencies. Isn't that odd? The vehicles that were doing heavy-duty lifting and transporting in all of these places were military vehicles being used for flood assistance in hurricane time. And those are the same vehicles that could be used by all these local agencies, but no, Obama said, nah, it's too militaristic. How sad.
I tell the story of the city of Davis, and I tell this story all the time. About 2.5 years ago, the city of Davis picked up an MRAP for their SWAT team. They have a joint SWAT team with them and the city of West Sacramento. They picked up this MRAP, and it was right around the time that UC Davis had the pepper spray incident and all the protests and all that shit. And people said, oh, my God, it's a military vehicle. It's an assault vehicle. I can't believe the police would have that, blah, 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 blah. And the city of Davis, which is Diet Berkeley, bitched enough where the powers that be in Davis said, fine, we'll get rid of the MRAP. And they gave it back to the federal government.
Boy, there's good thinking.
A month later, they had a shooting situation in which they believed there was an armed suspect inside and injured victims. So they had no armor. Clint says this all the time. We say it all the time. And MRAP is, when you get it on a police level, there is no offensive equipment on it whatsoever. No. It is merely for defense.
No, and MRAPs customarily are not outfitted with heavy weapons.
It's defense.
In the first place.
Right.
Oh, and Yolo County. Davis, what do we know about Yolo County? Oh, there's the Yolo Causeway there, which runs through Davis. And what do we know about the Yolo Causeway? Oh, that's right. It floods.
All the time.
So these could possibly be considered multi-purpose, multitask vehicles. Oh, that's right. You have to have the perspective to
Foresight.
look down the road to see that they don't just have a singular usage.
Right. So, while they were waiting, and I actually live tweeted this, and I was laughing in some ways to myself because now the city of Davis is calling the city of Woodland, the city just north, for their armored vehicle.
Oh, didn't see that coming. What? No.
So, but it goes to show you that when you start talking about stupidity amongst Democrats, and I do want to wheel this back to North Korea a little bit and remind everybody how
That's a great segue, too.
North Korea
Brilliant.
got nuclear weapons. And that came by way of William Jefferson Clinton.
China.
In
Clinton?
China. Yep.
From
I'm
Bill.
just talking merely Democrats this country.
Right, but you're saying, let's see, from Bill to China to North Korea to the Kim family.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. Conveniently forgotten.
Yes. Majorly forgotten, which drives me insane every single time. Clinton made a deal with North Korea that permitted them to expand their nuclear program under the guise it was for energy only. It would never be used for nuclear weapons. Here we are, folks. They have nuclear weapons. If you go back and you look at why and how Clinton sold that deal to the country, and you watch his speech, and then you fast forward to Obama discussing Iran, and you watch his speech.
It's for our protection.
And you line them up next to each other.
It's for the children.
It is amazing how much of the same bullshit are in both of those speeches.
Do you remember...
The Democrats caused this nuclear crisis. That's what everyone's missing about this.
When I tell you this product and how it was used or not used, you're going to go, oh, fuck yeah, I remember that. There was a time, if you recall, when there was a product made in the United States called the Speak and Spell, which we would not export to any other country, particularly China, because of the proprietary technology in a kid's toy.
In a Speak and Spell.
And now...
missile
technology? Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That's just peachy.
Hell
Thanks,
yeah.
Bill.
Yeah. Give it over, baby. Give it over.
Love it.
And now you have a country that is nuclearized, and you have a country that has a lot of oil and a decent amount of money that's trying to become nuclearized, and both of them hate the great white devil. And you say, oh, wait a minute. Well, why can't we be friends? We need money. You have money. You need oil. We have oil. You have nuclear technology. We need nuclear technology.
Dan and I also posited this from last night. Who goes to Iran?
Idiots.
Oh, that's right. People who want terrorism, technology,
Yes.
and shit like that, funded equipment, etc.
By the Iranians.
By the Iranians, which is actually funded by the United States because Obama fucktard decided that he was going to fly pallets full of cash right out of a Bourne movie in a C-117.
130.
Were they 130s? I heard they were
130s.
117s. In the dead of night with pallets of plastic-wrapped cash.
150 billion.
To Iran right out of a movie.
Yep.
But if people are going to Iran for that, for potential fissile materials in the future, wouldn't North Korea at one point conclude, hey, we can make a little on the side.
A lot of green.
If, let's say, Mohammed from Hamas, if you're not getting as much fissile material as you wish from Iran, come over the water and we'll cut you a deal.
Yeah.
Come on into the country.
We'll hook you up, baby.
We'll chat, my friend. We'll chat. We'll make friends.
Yes. And that's the thing that scares me. Look it. Even Al Gore said this. North Korea is an issue that should have been dealt with 4 different presidents prior to Trump. Now, the biggest difference is Trump is dealing with a North Korea that's nuclear capable instead of nuclear growing. On what scale? There's a whole bunch of hypotheses out there.
There's a new element into the game also. I see we have about 10 minutes left, and I think we'll be able to do this in this amount of time.
I believe you.
The new element is now people are hypothesizing that it won't necessarily be about the strike itself in terms of nuclear, what North Korea wants to throw and where and at what time. It's more aimed at how effective can we make the EMP and place it in the most effective spot in the United States to take down as much as possible. Now, in Japan, problem accomplished. One airburst at about 10,000 feet.
Done.
Perfect. Right? That all of Japan is gone.
Yes.
But let's say people hypothesize that North Korea can reach pretty much, if you read into it, depending upon what person you believe, they can reach the East Coast and they can reach the West Coast. Who's to say that they couldn't attempt to launch something? Well, they're not. They're going to avoid the Midwest because they're flyover states after all. Who says that you can't throw something in the air over D.C. or New York and kill all of banking, and then throw something over San Francisco or Los Angeles in the United States and kill as much as possible? It doesn't have to necessarily be people.
Right.
It just has to be the electrical grid infrastructure internet that runs fucking everything
under the sun
in the United States. Victory.
Yeah. And that's the thing, we always talk about when we take down this country, you're never going to militarily take us head on. You kind of need that ace in the hole. Nuclear is a big ace in the hole. EMP is a big ace in the hole. Hacking and technology is a big ace in the hole. Hacking is one of the things that North Korea, everybody is saying, has been focusing on for the last couple years.
Pretty damn good at it.
Pretty damn good at it. So as technologically dumb as they are, they're also technologically advanced. If they could start hacking some of the most major computer networks in our country, which they have already, reports have said, then you can start hacking, I don't know, missile development companies?
Let me throw this out into the mix. Maybe I shouldn't be going here, but I will.
Put your pants on first.
There's a new report that just came out that the Navy says that they're lagging behind. Well, some folks are saying that the U.S. Navy is lagging behind its training certificates, and that's why we're having so many crashes, collisions, etc. with naval destroyers in the Japanese area. That could be in and of itself true, yes. What did the United States do with the centrifuges in Iran? From the United States, we hacked the centrifuges and, for the most part, at that point, killed their nuclear development projects.
Yes.
People have theorized that some of these collisions involving our recent destroyers are because of hacks into their system. Now, if that was true, another if-then equation, if that was true, then what does that say about our ability if the Navy is having trouble with that? What happens if you craft a hack and an EMP simultaneously in, whatever given portion of the United States you've decided that you're going to target as North Korea? Here's another point. Here's another suggestion. Jersey Joe was just saying that he walked into all sorts of stores in Florida and noticed that shit was gone from the shelves. Why is that? That's because the supply side back chain of almost anything and everything now is so crucial, so critical, so short, so minimal that people don't have to keep a lot of stuff in warehouses anymore because that's expensive.
Yes.
How does that get accomplished? It gets accomplished by the internet. It gets accomplished by electronic coordination of all of these things. You take down that structure and all of that goes away as well.
Amazon.
And it's already happening.
How many people, I like Amazon. I use Amazon. I'll be the first one to admit it. But you look at how many things you can now buy on Amazon. You can do your grocery shopping, your regular deliveries of all your dry goods in your house, all your cleaning supplies, and you can set just about all of it up on a schedule. You legitimately can come home from work, sit on the couch, wait for the knock on the door, put your stuff away, sit back down on the couch. You don't have to go to a store. You don't have to go for almost anything now. Imagine, and I understand that we're spoon-fed lemmings in this country, right? We're just sitting on the couch, fat, dumb, and happy. Imagine, though, those people when and if an EMP strikes. No survival skills, not dependent on anything, but to have shit delivered to them.
No backup, no
backup,
consideration,
no plan,
no thought,
nothing.
No stocking, no storage, none of that. I'm in the process of writing another 2 major blog posts that are going to be coming out, and I'll Bigfoot myself anyway. I'm going to hypothesize that 100 years from now, if we're still around, one of the biggest things that's going to be said is they need to send someone back in the past and put a gun to Admiral Grace Hopper's head and pull the trigger. And what I mean by that is she invented COBOL, which is the computer language of ones and zeros.
Yes.
And it created the digital age, and it got us to where we are now. We're completely super dependent, and not even codependent, completely dependent upon the digital age.
Yes.
Take away everything digital that we have right now, and what do you have?
Nothing.
Everything fails. Everything falls. So I'm hypothesizing this. Going digital will turn out to be one of the worst things mankind ever did.
Well,
ever.
But we've already seen it in a lot of different ways, right? And you've seen this younger generation not being able to deal with things because they're so used to fighting with people on the internet that when people get in their face, they don't know how to fucking react. You see it schools. They're using these computers to teach everything now. The teacher just stands there and tells them what button to hit. Everybody is so dependent. And I say it all the time. I am too, to a point. I'm on my phone way too much sometimes for a lot of different things. You know,
yeah, that part is just transitional. But what is the nature of humanity? The nature of humanity is to push the envelope, technological, societal, and otherwise, as far as humanly possible.
Yes.
And call me a raving tinfoil wearing loon.
You're a raving tinfoil wearing loon.
Thank you very much. I feel much better. But I'm telling you, it will be proven in the future. Don't know exactly when, but BZ said it here first. Going digital will be the downfall of this entire planet. It will come back if we can somehow survive the various conflicts that are impending. But going digital will be the downfall of everything. Anything that's digital, no matter what anyone tells you in terms of bullshit,
yes,
anything digital can be hacked.
Yes.
Jeeps have already been hacked. 757s have
hacked.
Already been hacked.
Yes.
In the air. And if they tell you, oh no, you're safe, it's fine, the planes are fine, your car is fine. The plane is not fine.
No.
And your car is not fine.
The last thing I want is while I'm on final approach
and your home is about to be not fine.
The last thing I want is to be on final approach to Logan in Boston and have some 17-year-old kid sitting in front of a flight simulator go, yeah, I can do this, and hack into it and go.
That's also if the plane you, Sean, are flying on still has a pilot.
Right. And
that's moving there too.
Yes.
The United States Air Force is already saying, do we need fighters?
Yes.
Do we actually need fighters?
We can do everything through drones.
We don't need fighters.
We can do everything through drones.
Oh, really? You're going to go there? You're going to give up all of that? That's what's in your future, folks. Wake up. You think RFID chips in people isn't here?
It's already here in Milwaukee.
And putting all of your life on a chip that if you walk by, you can already scan credit cards. There's a reason BZ carries his credit card in a little envelope wherever he goes so that you can't have a walk by me with an RFID reader. And how would you like to have someone walk up to you and know you in 1 second as they scan your implanted chip because people want to go there too?
Yes, they do. And then what happens when they turn that chip off? Bill Burr, he's a great comedian, but he told a great joke about that, how we're going in that direction. It's like, hey, dude, they're going to put chips in all of us, and then when you're out, you talk bad about the government, they're going to turn your chip off. You're not going to be able to pay for anything. You're not going to be able to do for anything. You're just going to walk around aimlessly screaming at the sky, begging somebody in a satellite to turn it back on.
Well, I already like to scream at the sky, and I like to stand on the corner and scream at traffic as well. But that's one of the reasons I wanted to get Melanie Collette on my show. And I know we're far away from North Korea, and we don't have that much time left.
2 minutes.
But that's one of the reasons that I wanted to get Melanie Collette on my show, because I wanted to ask her about a cashless society. What do you know about a cashless society in the digital age? The government can decide that if it's having inflation, it can dip and pull. Yes. If it's having deflation, inflation, it can either force you to save or force you to spend.
Yes.
Depending on what the fuck it wants to do.
Yeah, that's
Yay,
government for you.
Yay, digital.
Yay, government.
Yay, cashless.
Yay, government. Folks, before we end this evening here in the second...
How did we get there?
We always get here this quick.
I know.
Before we end this evening, I do want to extend our thoughts and prayers to everybody in the path of Irma who's already been affected or will be affected by Hurricane Irma. If you are in the direct path, please heed all of the warnings of those that are in charge that are trying to get you to safety. Go to safety. Make sure you can communicate. If you're going to stay and you shouldn't be staying, expect not to be rescued, and make sure that you have everything you need to survive for yourself and anybody that's with you. If you're sick, elderly, get on a bus and go. Because once they have to come rescue you, you're putting their lives in danger as well. Make sure you check out all the great shows starting this coming week at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 on the East Coast, 5 on the East Coast, rather. 5, yeah,
yep.
Got it.
Jersey Joe at 6.
Jersey Joe at 6. Ralph's at 5. 4 o'clock will be Melanie Collette. Of course, that's Monday through Friday. And then Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Pacific.
Who would that be?
You have the bloviating Zeppelin sitting right across from us.
Thank you.
I know Danny Butcher's around as well. Make sure you check him out. He's on Fridays.
Yep.
And
HighPlainsPundit.com.
Yep. And make sure you check out our great friends at High Plains Pundit. We'll see you next Wednesday right here on the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast. Chat will be open. YouTube will be on. My Pants will be on. BZ's will be off. Clint may or may not have a brand new nose.
But he will have a goiter.
He will have a goiter. It'll be a great goiter from Bar Harbor. It's a good goiter. We'll see you next week. Have a great week, folks.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show, also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians.
You got a business. You didn't build that.
A team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying capitalistic.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on SHRmedia.com.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work there, too. for those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late-night conservative talk, SHR Radio. The best late-night conservative talk show in America. In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.